It's time to rev your engines. The Syracuse Nationals proudly presents the Cavalcade of Cars, March 22nd through 23rd at the New York State Fairgrounds. The two-day indoor car show features all the classics, plus lifted trucks, Jeeps, motorcycles, and more. Cavalcade of Cars, CNY.com.
Verdict Toyota pregame show.
Oh, that it is. Welcome in. Brian Higgins with you on this Saturday evening, final Saturday of the college basketball regular season. We're an hour out from Syracuse and Virginia. Tip time in the Dome tonight. Seating potentially on the line for Syracuse in the ACC tournament coming up. Definitely on the line for Virginia in the ACC tournament coming up. We got eyes on, at the moment, 11.8 seconds left in OT3 in South Bend. The scintillating game you didn't know you needed. It's Notre Dame 97 and Cal 95. If this final score holds with Notre Dame leading, then I do believe Syracuse will be the 14 seed and play at 7:30. At 7 on Tuesday, regardless. Who they might play would certainly also depend on if Syracuse wins or loses tonight. If Cal ends up winning this game, then Syracuse could slip to the 15 seed if they lose today. So that does seem to be what is on the line here in the next 11.8-ish seconds of basketball. They've been playing for a long time. This game started at 4, so they're still going out there in South Bend. And you get one less hour tonight. Don't forget, spring forward, all that good stuff. Let's see, Cal. Oh, they tied it up again. All right, we got another tie game. They might be going to fourth overtime here. No illegal play-by-play. Let's see what Notre Dame can do. And this is suddenly, there's a timeout here by somebody. Shrewsbury? Somebody called a timeout. I don't know. Notre Dame and Cal are playing as if it's the end of days here, trying to get after each other, with the one team with 7 wins in the ACC and the other team with 6. Kind of similar to what we got tonight in the Dome with Cuse and Virginia. The Orange enter with 6 wins of their own in the ACC. It was kind of tracking there for the last month or so that Syracuse and Virginia would be within a game of each other heading into this game tonight. And tonight might affect seedings and standings and all of that, but has not ended up that way. Virginia's been hot. That's going a bit bold, but lukewarm enough here the last few weeks. They've got 8 wins in the league, so they will be clear of Syracuse regardless of what happens tonight. Same with Florida State. They picked up their 8th win in the league today, knocking off SMU. That's got to be just absolutely dashing to SMU's tournament hopes, which were faint to begin with. UNC and Duke is underway in the league right now. By this point, the first time they played, Duke was up by 8 million. They're up by 2. It's 7-5. And Pittsburgh is putting BC out of their misery right now to end their season. They're up on BC right now, 46-18. Yikes. First half almost over. That's the game that's supposed to be on ACC Network, but they're still in these overtimes. All right, can Notre Dame win it here at the Horn in triple overtime? No, why not 4 overtimes in South Bend? Again, the winner of this game will affect Syracuse, and if their game means anything vis-a-vis seeding and game time in the ACC tournament later tonight, again, if Notre Dame wins this game, the Orange will be locked into the 14 seed. If Cal wins, it opens up potentially a slip to the 15 seed. So we will continue to keep an eye on that from South Bend. But has been a busy week around these parts. Phone lines are open, too, if, as always, if you'd like to join in. 315-437-7644 will take you up to 8 o'clock. And tip time, Senior Day. It's weird to call it Senior Day. We gotta rebrand this thing. Last game in the Dome day for a bunch of guys on the Orange this year, be them one-year guys or beyond. But it's been a week, man. It's been a week. We had the same old song on Tuesday night down in Dallas. The Orange had a double-figure lead. They had the double-figure lead in the second half. We got to the end of the game. They didn't have the double-figure lead anymore. Final horn sounded. They didn't have any lead anymore as SMU got a late tip-in to beat Syracuse 77-75 on Tuesday evening down in Dallas. First ever meeting between those programs. Orange were up 12 with 10 minutes left in the game. Go back a week ago today against the other team from Virginia. Syracuse was in Blacksburg and up 13 with 8 minutes to go against Virginia Tech. Managed to lose both of those games. Go back 2.5 weeks. The Orange had an early 16 points lead to Pittsburgh. Ended up losing that game by double digits. So it's not been great recently as far as the finals. Syracuse has had double-digit leads now in 4 straight games. Normally a good number. They've only won one of those 4 games. That against NC State, who was one of the 3 teams that will miss the ACC Conference Tournament this year. It's also, out of the 4 games, the only one that's at home. Was at home. We'll see if that has an effect tonight. The Orange have been significantly more successful in the Dome this year than away from the friendly confines of the building. So that all happened on Tuesday night. Struggle of a game for J.J. Starling, 3 of 17 shooting. Eddie Lampkin missed the big rebound late, had 10 points and 9 boards. The small forwards both had hot shooting days. Lucas Taylor with 13, Chris Bell with 11 as they combined for 24 points. But as the week went along, the story got further and further away, right, from, all right, this game, that game, whatever. We've told these stories a bajillion times over and over again this season, have we not? But we arrive at Thursday. John Wildhack joins Orange Nation on Thursday for the first time in a while. First time we've really heard John in a full interview setting going back to, I want to say it was mid to late November. He also chatted with Syracuse.com on a Thursday. And obviously there's many, many things to talk about. Many, many things, as always, going on in the world of an athletic director. NIL is a top priority right now. This new $20.5 million revenue share, which is expected to come into play next fiscal year, is very, very much in play, and I would imagine is taking up a significant amount of time for John and all athletic directors in the country right now. But the question on everybody's mind, based on this basketball season and what's going on here at Syracuse, will Adrian Autry be back for year 3?
Can you clear that up for everybody today? Will he be back as head coach at Syracuse?
Adrian will be back next year. But there's also, with that comes, the expectations is, we and I and Adrian, we expect our performance to be significant. So we've got to fix this.
Significantly better next year, whatever that means. There's obviously, when you only have 12 wins, significantly you can be significantly better and not be in the tournament. You can win 7-8 more games and still be, in Bubble City next year. So significantly is a nebulously large term that the Orange will be dealing with here into the offseason. The other question that has been bandied about, and I think is a more, you have to ask the first question, but I think we all knew the answer to the first question and have known the answer to the first question, whether we like the answer or not, for a long time. The other part, though, goes into, all right, so Red's going into year 3. Does John Wildhack, as an AD, does he, shake the mighty fist from on high and say, this is no good, fire Griff, fire the other guys, clear it out, blow it up, start it over, you got to do this, you got to do that?
I've never told the coach that, you've got to go, take somebody and, find 2 sacrificial lambs. I'm not going to do that. If Adrian wants to make changes, he'll come to me, we'll have that discussion. I think one thing that'll benefit us going forward as we get ready for the portal is having Alex Klein here. Alex didn't have an opportunity last year to really impact this year's team. He got here too late. He's been here now. I think we're much better prepared for the portal from a personnel standpoint. I think Alex has also helped us in terms of recruiting and identifying the type of player that our staff wants at Syracuse, right? And the qualities, the basketball qualities that they want, the individual qualities they want as a person, as a teammate, as a student, et cetera, that type of thing. So I think Alex will have an impact, significant impact on what we do in the portal this year and the roster construction of next year's team.
So something to keep an eye out as we sit here now, 16 days, who's counting, from when the portal opens, coming up the Monday after the second round of the NCAA tournament concludes. I would imagine before then that you'll hear rumblings of this, that, and whatever, whether it be Syracuse rumblings or other schools. You'll hear people say that I will be going to the portal, even though they can't officially enter it. There'll be, behind the scenes contacts of people made, even though you can't officially directly contact people until the portal opens, which is why I think the NFL has, I believe it starts on Monday. Does it start last Monday or this Monday? Doesn't really matter. It's called the legal tampering period, which is hilarious in its own right. College sports doesn't have that. They have an illegal tampering period that nobody cares about. So realistically, once Syracuse's season is over here in less than a week, stuff may be happening, probably will be happening behind the scenes. So when the portal opens here coming up 16 days out, I'm not saying we're going to have 4 guys signed on day one, but I think it may be a little more interesting day 1, 2, 3, 4 than, perhaps in years past, with the fact that it's been bumped back a week, and the teams that are out of it will have even more time to really get their ducks in a row before lining things up for that. I'd say the other thing, and we'll hear of a more thorough conversation Red had with Orange Nation on Thursday. He came on, I don't know, about 45 minutes after John Wildhack on Thursday, as he always does, brought to you by Oswego County Mutual, that there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, Red's not showing emotion, not doing this, not doing that, not doing whatever. A lot of people have come to I find a peculiar assumption that Adrian Autry is all right with how this season's going.
No way. No way. Like, what is there to be okay with? You know what? Sometimes I think these people or whoever calls in or whoever has these questions, like, no one, that has went to the school, graduated, played here, could imagine or want, and I'm now here running a program to be happy with 13 wins or 12 wins or whatever it is, right? Like, what are they talking about? What's okay? We understand. Again, I want to win more than anybody else. I feel like I'm letting the whole, my alumni, former players, our fan base. I was a part of great teams, here. So again, this is, weighing on me more than anybody else. I bleed orange. I raised my family here. I brought my family here and raised them here. They bleed orange. So, I think that's probably the most disappointing thing is when people say things like that. And John Wildhack is an alum as well, and he's on his job. Everybody wants to be good at their job. Everybody wants success at their job, and especially what we're in, the business that we're in, and what this means to this community, this fan base, this brand. Like, who would be okay with this? No one. Everyone's fighting tooth and nail to get this thing right, to get it back. And I know we're going in the right direction. I know it's going to change. I have no doubt about that.
So there was Red from Thursday. We'll play more from that chat coming up here in a little bit. And I know most of you out there wouldn't think that Red is okay with it. And for those that are saying that, God bless all of you. There are way more than none of you out there, though, that are like, this guy, what does he care about? We've had some very peculiar conversations this year. I looked down for a second from this Cal Notre Dame game. Cal was up by 4. Were they not up by 4? I just looked back up, and Micah Shrewsbury is losing his mind, and Notre Dame's back up by 1. We got 1:55 to go in the 4th overtime. I'm cracking open the ACC tiebreaker procedures. We're going to be, if Cal wins this game, we're going to be diving deep into it as the day goes along. If Notre Dame wins this game, Syracuse is the 14 seed, and we'll still need the tiebreak procedures to determine who they'll be playing at the 11th seed. But there we go. So we're going to figure it out. The more I'm looking at this now, I think I thought Syracuse had been ceilinged at the 14 seed. Based on some of the other stuff that's happened today, it's cleared up potential tie breaks. If Cal wins this game, and Cal just made a 3, it's 106-104 Cal with 1:30 to go, even though their best player, Andrei Stojakovic, who missed the Syracuse game out in California, has fouled out with 20-some-odd points in this game. I think if Syracuse wins this game, they might actually be able to get up to the 13th seed in the 2 o'clock game. I'm neck deep in these tiebreakers. The league has been so close. Coming into today, there were so many 6- and 7-win teams, and certainly going back before Wednesday this past week, there were 6 teams that all potentially could have ended up tied with each other. Now it's potentially looks like, and now the game is tied again. Notre Dame has just scored. It's 106 apiece. 5 overtimes. Could they be going for 6? Where's Devo? Is Devo doing this game? No, Devo was down in Tallahassee today. I think Devo being at a multi-overtime game would be some funny stuff. But this game is wild. 106 apiece with 40 seconds to go in the fourth overtime game, and Cal gets a dunk. I remember Notre Dame played a 4 overtime game. I want to say way back in the day, like Michael Sweetney era, when Georgetown Notre Dame would have been a Big East game. That seems to ring a bell in the old brain. All right, Notre Dame's got it. They're down 2. If Cal hangs on here, I think there's a possibility if Syracuse wins tonight for a 3-way tie with the Orange, because they'd be 2-1 against this trio. Notre Dame would be 1-2 against this trio, and Cal would be 1-1. I think Syracuse would actually win the 3-way tiebreaker, though Notre Dame just hit a freaking 3 and they got the lead back. This game is bonkers for 2 really bad teams. They're both 13 and 17. This game's nuts. 15 seconds to go. 109-108. Irish leading. If Cal wins this game and Syracuse wins tonight, I think Syracuse would get up to the 13 seed and therefore play at 2 on Tuesday. Man, there's a lot of wide-ranging time options here. Now, I'm pretty sure that if Cal wins this game, Syracuse would either be the 13 or the 15. So that's either 2 or 4:30. If Notre Dame wins this game as they are right now, Syracuse is stuck at the 14 seed, which means the 7 o'clock tip. And then much more horrifically, if Syracuse wins on Tuesday, the 9:30 tip on Wednesday. But we're projecting too far ahead into my sleep patterns. We really should go to commercial here, but there's 15 seconds to go in the 4th overtime of the game that we're absolutely not illegally broadcasting on these airwaves. So we're gonna hang out and watch this puppy for just a second here. Somebody in the chat says if Notre Dame loses, they're locked into the 15. Yeah. Well, that's not true, because Notre Dame has one more win than Syracuse. If Notre Dame loses and Syracuse loses, Notre Dame would still have a better record than Syracuse in the league. So Syracuse has to win to be able to catch up to Notre Dame today. Marcus Burton has 43 points. Is he fouled out? Man. Is he in the game? He doesn't look like he's in the game. Or do they take him out for D? All right, Cal's got the ball. We're not doing illegal play-by-play. That would be against the rules. 109-108. Notre Dame up 1. Cal ball. 4th overtime. Oh, the Cal guy just dribbled right out of bounds. My goodness. Oh, man. He did a spin move and ended up over the end line. That's not what you're looking for. 315 Homer Villainy in the chats. That's what the broadcast graphic said. Well, there's no way that's right. Notre Dame's 7-12 in the league. The Orange have 6 league wins. So even if Notre Dame loses this game, they're still ahead of Syracuse in the standings. So Syracuse would have to win. It can't be correct. Come on, ACC Network broadcast crews. 5.6 seconds left. Irish ball inbounding. Yeah, we really should go to break, but whatever. This is more interesting. We got to see what's going on. The 13 through 15 seeds in the ACC are in the freaking balance. The Irish got the ball in bounds, and they will be going to the line. Somebody will be shooting free throws. Okay. All right, so what do we want here to make this interesting? The Irish to make 2, and then Cal to make like a half quarter to send it to a 5th overtime? That would be fun. If Cal's got a guy named Lee Dort, is he related to Lou Dort? This is taking a very long time. Notre Dame, free throws. Man, for a quad overtime game, the camera angle I'm getting right now of the Joyce Center, crowd is sparse. Crowd is sparse for this one. Where are the crowds going to be at the Dome tonight? I'm not optimistic, considering some of the great crowds we've had for Cuse, Virginia in other years and other circumstances. Remember when there was a season opener against the defending national champs a few years ago that nobody scored any points in? All right, Irish guy made the first free throw, 2-point game, 4.5 seconds to go, 4th overtime. The screen is frozen. It's unfrozen. Notre Dame guy. I didn't see who it was. All right, we got a 3-point game. Are they going to foul? Are they going to play the foul game? They still got time. They still got timeouts left. What's timeouts left? 4.5 seconds to go in the 4th overtime. My goodness. All right. Will the Irish foul up 3 late? Will they operate correctly with 4.5 seconds to go in the game? Will they do it? The way this game is going, they'll somehow... What game did I see yesterday where they called... The guy got up a half-court shot, and they called it a shooting foul. It was in one of the just rando conference tournaments, I think. Like rando quarterfinal game somewhere. I forget what game it was. We really should have gone to a break a very, very long time ago. That's okay. Syracuse, Virginia, 40 minutes out. Red Autry interview coming up next. We must know how this game ends. We're emotionally invested in the game we didn't know we cared about until about an hour ago. We must know how this goes down. They've been playing for almost 3.5 hours in South Bend. It's a very long time out. Was this a full? What's taking so long? Let's go. Someone's got a mop. They're mopping. Come on, a little pace. I know everyone's dragging a bit in the fourth overtime, but let's get it moving. It's games like this where you remember the 6 overtime game, which I know you were all watching. We're like, yeah, we were barely settling in at this point. 4 overtimes, everyone was still fresh as a daisy. Justin Thomas hadn't even gotten on the court yet with his chewing gum and his jumping jacks. Oh, what a day that was. All right, Cal getting ready to inbound, down 3. And Notre Dame does do the foul. All right. 2.5 seconds left to go in this fourth overtime. Are they all out of timeouts? Okay, we got to play it out now. BC and Pitt. BC is just getting worked. That was the next game on ACC Network an hour and a half ago. They're down like 30. It's already It's already like deep into the second half. I'm sure BC fans are all right with not really having to deal with it. All right, so Cal, here we go. 4 seconds to go. This has got to be the make the first, miss the second, intentionally tip it back in to force the fourth overtime. They got a 43% free throw shooter at the line. Perhaps nobody more perfectly ready for this circumstance. Spencer Mahoney, whoever that is. 3-point game, Irish. This is taking a really long time. I hope you're all compelled on your way to the Dome tonight for Cuse in Virginia. Oh, he made the first. That actually looked really good for a 43% shooter. All right, you got 4 seconds left. You got to do the intentional miss, tip it in. It's the easiest thing in basketball. Come on, guy. Intentional miss, tip it in. They're showing Cal's coach, Mark the Mad Dog Madsen. Is he going to go for the intentional miss? What do we got here? Oh, he made it. Oh, he made it by accident. Oh, he made it, and then he bopped himself in the head. Oh, he couldn't miss. The 43% free throw shooter couldn't miss. Oh, man, Notre Dame almost threw it away. Okay, there's still time. 3.2. 3.2. The rest of this pregame show is going to go blindingly fast because we've gone like 10 minutes long in the opening segment because this game refuses to end. Fourth overtime of a game that doesn't really matter to set up a seeding scenario for Syracuse that doesn't really matter. Everyone's huddled around. Did somebody just foul out? What's going on here? Look at those tattoos on that guy from Notre Dame. That's a hell of a sleeve on the left arm. Looked very tribal. Samoan. Okay, Notre Dame guy hit the first. We're back to a 2-point game. This is not illegal play-by-play. If I just say that enough, it's true. Can't believe Micah Shrewsbury's still wearing that sweater. He looks beyond sweaty. That is a sweaty-looking man right now. 4 overtimes in, still donning the sweater. Oh, the Irish guy missed the second. Rebound for the win. Oh, man, he almost hit the three-quarter court shot. That was the right distance off to the left. All right, Notre Dame is 1. Syracuse is, regardless of result tonight, the 14 seed in the ACC tournament. If I've done my math correctly, the Orange will be playing somebody. We'll figure it out later at 7 o'clock on Tuesday. They're playing Virginia today at 7 o'clock. 8 o'clock, not 7 o'clock. We've already had that. 8 o'clock tonight for Virginia. We'll tell you more about that. Hear more from Red Autry when we come back on our pregame coverage today. Brought to you by Burdick. It's Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. Oh, yes, ACC Network is our television today. Oh, man. So, yeah, Syracuse is now the 14 seed no matter what. Yeah, that was not a legal play-by-play. Not a legal play-by-play. I think you can only do a legal play-by-play if you know the guys' names.
Me wearing a Penn State hoodie as a Notre Dame fan.
You couldn't care. Shouldn't you be like, isn't Micah Shrewsbury your beloved? No?
No, Mike Bray. Mike Bray was the beloved.
Micah Shrewsbury is extremely sweaty right now.
He's very sweaty.
Look at it. They finally get to the Pitt BC game. BC's just getting worked. There's 15 minutes left.
How long is this break? 2 seconds?
Hey, we still got to get all the breaks in. It's the segments that are going to be shorter going forward.
That was so worth it.
I was not doing play-by-play, Phil. No, that would be illegal. We didn't have the rights to that game, Phil. No, I was just doing vague descriptions of what I happened to be watching on TV at the time. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Oh, someone's dead.
Oh, somebody took it right in the sack.
The game ended, and most likely that dude's going to be playing at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, they're... Oh, no, he's grabbing his wrist. That's not his... Did he break his wrist? What happened to this guy? Yeah, I didn't describe all of the plays, Tronic. How we doing, chat? That was a long first segment. It's all Notre Dame's fault. I blame Notre Dame for everything. What happened there? Is that his shoulder? Chest? What's he holding? Wind knocked out of him? All right, so Notre Dame has won. I am correct, right? Syracuse is the 14th seed. I feel about as correct as one can feel on something like this. Well, assuming... All right, so Notre Dame's got 8 wins now. Pitt's up by 8 million. Syracuse is the tiebreak over Cal no matter what. Yeah, Syracuse is the 14th seed. Who's going to be the 11? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, this is going to be a cluster of a tiebreak. Oh, what a mess of an 8-win tiebreak. Notre Dame's tied with Florida State. What's Virginia Tech doing? Virginia Tech's getting smoked by Clemson. If Syracuse wins tonight, this could be a 4-way tiebreak from somewhere to somewhere. Oh, what a cluster. Might take the whole postgame show to do this math. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Syracuse, 13. Wow. There could be a five-way tie at 8 wins for 9 through 13. F. So at the moment, Syracuse could still be playing either Virginia, Virginia Tech, Florida State, Notre Dame, or Pitt without totally going through it all. That was not play-by-play, Kev. Almost. It was not. I deny it. Burn the evidence. It was on an ESPN network. It's like we almost had the rights to it. The Pitt game is on my TV right now. 3-1-5 Homer Villainy now that Notre Dame is over. Pitt is up by many, many, many points. All right, we're back at it after we absolutely did not do a legal play-by-play of that Notre Dame-Cal game. Notre Dame has won. Syracuse is 100% locked into the 14th seed. They'll be playing at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night in the ACC tournament down in Charlotte. If things stay on schedule, the games are 2, 4:30, and 7 on Tuesday. If they win that game, they'd be playing at 9:30 on Wednesday. Who will they be playing on Tuesday, you might ask? Yeah, there's the possibility of there being a 5-way tie from 10th through 13th in the league with Virginia, Virginia Tech, Florida State, Notre Dame, and Pitt. That's still exceedingly in play right now. Or a minimum of 4-way tie of 11th or 10th through 13th. So it's a cluster. Just a total cluster. So we're gonna have to figure out all sorts of exciting math to untangle that before the postgame show today. With that, we're shockingly behind, but that's okay. Let's get you a little Red Autry. Here's Red's weekly visit with Stephen Pauly from Orange Nation on Thursday.
do want to start you with, we had your boss on a little bit earlier. We had John Wildhack on. He gave you a vote of confidence and said you're absolutely coming back next year, and that you guys have talked, and there's a mutual understanding what the expectations are for next year. I guess, can you speak to number one, getting the vote of confidence from John Wildhack, and how you feel going into next year, and the expectations that you'll have to meet?
I think obviously, this is, everyone is disappointed, myself, my staff. Obviously, I understand the disappointment and the expectations that we had, and they didn't come to fruition this year. But to be able to sit down and talk with John, and we both understand, moving forward, what we need to do. We both are committed to it. Means a lot, and I think in today's environment, I think you're going to have a little bit of patience when you get in certain situations like this, because this is changing, and it's not, it's just a little different. And I think the programs that have a little bit of patience, and obviously you're not lowering your standard, not saying that you don't have to, stress your disappointment. I think, those guys and those programs will win out in the long run. I just do it because I think, the climate that we live in today, everyone is, everything is microwave, everything is fast. And if this is not this is not that, hey, let's, and next thing you know, you're running into, you can never get no continuity going. So I think, that's a big plus. We know, what needs to be done, and everyone is committed, from, John Wildhack on down to me and my staff. And so, we're looking forward, and we're going to push forward. We're going to finish this season out and keep fighting like we have been. And we're going to keep that same fight and move on until next year.
I don't want to harp on next year too much, because I know you're getting ready for Virginia. There's still games to be played this year. But, we've asked you about this before, but I feel like we need to ask you again, because, there's a lot of chatter about next year at this point. It seems like you and those we've talked to at the university feel like this program is in a better position right now to handle the offseason than maybe it was in the past. Can you just speak to that, I guess, with whenever the season ends, whether it's next week, whenever it is, do you guys feel like you're ready to attack this offseason the way that it needs to be attacked? Absolutely.
I think, obviously, I made some additions, and with the staff this year, I hired in Alex Klein as our general manager. We have, personnel to be prepared for this. And again, it's a lot, because you have to be prepared for every situation. And I think it's needed, as coaches, we're in the season, we trying to, win games, get our guys better. And, as soon as the season's over with, within, 10 or 12 days, you have to be ready for this portal. And, I think hiring and having the right staff and being able to be prepared for that, I feel very confident, moving forward in that situation, in this off season, the portal season, whatever you want to call it, we are way better prepared than we were last year.
Coach, you've been up double digits in your last 4 games and only won one of them. Why can't this team close out games? What have you seen?
Paulie, it's to put it in a nutshell, it comes down to the end, right? Like everyone, the last couple of possessions, but there's so many things that happen before that. And, you come up, you miss a box out, or, unforced turnover that leads to something. We get fouled offensively and we don't finish and make an and one, and then we go up and we miss a free throw, and then when we foul on the other end, the team makes the and one. They're getting 3 points. Maybe sometimes you miss a box out, turnover. It's been when it comes down to it, I call it is plays that need to be made. We're coming up short right now. We made them versus NC State. And it was early, and again, no one would really equate to that, but it was early. It was, a couple of out of bounds plays, and we stood our ground, and we let those guys know that that it wasn't going to happen. And I thought that changed the trajectory of the game. In particular, the SMU, I thought we battled. I mean, that's a very good team, and offensively, and I thought it was probably one of our better defensive performances, all year. And then at the end, I thought the difference was they made some shots. shots to get them back in it, and we didn't make the shots that we needed to make to keep extending that lead and continually putting pressure on them.
Coach, you mentioned it comes down to a box out here, a play there. What went into your thinking to not have a center in the game at the, and have Peter in the game at the end of the SMU game when the tip-in happened?
Well, we knew that they were going to go to a ball screen, and, they have been ball screening, and, we wanted to have someone in there that can get out there quicker and try to, step and get back. And that was the thinking. We had, our front court had some trouble in the ball screens. So we wanted to go with a quicker lineup out there. And so that was why we did that. Again, everybody can second guess everything. If it works out, it's great. If it's not, but again, what I had seen in my feelings, we knew that they were going to go to some type of ball screen action because they didn't have their big out there. They had their smaller, quicker guys out there. So we just thought that was the best lineup to go with.
JJ, 3 for 17 from the field in that game, 1 for 10 from 3. Kind of a two-part question. And number one, any particular reason for his struggles in that game? And then I guess secondly, as a coach, he's your best player. You want the ball in his hands. It was a night where, he just didn't have it. At what point do you, I don't want to say turn the page, like you want him to stay involved, but at what point do you think about maybe putting the ball in somebody else's hands? And I realize it's a difficult decision to make because he is your best player. Was that a thought of maybe go away from JJ and go to somebody else down the stretch of that game?
Yeah, we did. We tried to. We went into Jair. We went into Eddie. I thought JC, again, was, the ball was kind of in his hands. And a lot of the shots that happened were because of, rotation, the ball movement. And, I thought JJ got a couple of open looks, and I thought when he drove, he kind of came up short. But, the one thing about it is, JJ is one of the best guards, in our league and in the country. And, just as well as he can miss one or two, he can heat up and make 2 or 3. So, I'm going to go with my best player every time. I stick with my best players. I stick with the guys that I have, that have shown me and have done it. And, again, I thought JJ, again, he didn't have the best out, shooting, but I thought, he could attack the rim a little bit more, but everything that we did, in that game, the shots that he came, it wasn't, us giving him the ball. It was really more, we went somewhere and they doubled and we got the, ball movement.
Is some of this mental right now, Coach, with the players in a close game down the stretch, when they've had a big lead in that, and we heard this from Felicia Leggett-Jack yesterday. They blew a big lead. I don't know if you saw that. They were up 19, and they ended up losing. And she said in her post-game interview that, they were up double digits still, and she could see in her own players' eyes kind of like, uh-oh, here we go again. Are you feeling that a little bit with your players, that maybe there is a little bit of mental fatigue, or maybe like PTSD, for lack of a better term, that when you go through it a time or two, that when it starts to go downhill, the players feel like they can't stop it? Are you seeing that at all?
No, I don't see that with our guys. I really don't. Our guys are I give this team a lot of credit. They have fought. Especially this last month and a half. I mean, this last month, starting from Carolina, we've been to so many close games, 4-point games, 5-point games, 1-point games, and been up and tied or, whatever it may be. And I think they've, I don't think, and I haven't felt that, and, we go into every game confident. We walked out of that last time out like, hey, let's get this stopped. And no one was, wavering. No one had a look in their eyes. And we knew exactly, hey, if they score, let's take it out quick. This is what we're in. Get it to JJ on a run. Everybody else, run your range. So we knew what we wanted to do. And I think we're well prepared. I think these guys, they keep fighting. They keep battling, man. And in this environment, and when the kind of, you, like you said, you go through those things, you can see that. I have not seen that.
It's also senior night. It used to be, seniors, it would be an emotional night. Guys who'd been there 3, 4, maybe 5 years, very emotional night. Now a lot of it is you're honoring guys who, have been with you for, 7, 8 months, whatever the case may be when you're talking transfers. Is it different now? Like, does it feel different for the coaches and the players? You know, senior night doesn't have maybe the same emotion or significance, I guess, attached to it that it has in the past?
Well, I think I think when everyone gets to this time of the season, I think like anything that the players that have been in your program for multiple years, I think you're going to see some emotion from coaches because of what we're in now, right? Like you're saying, each year it could be somewhat different. In particular this year, the guys that we've brought in that are seniors, it will be emotional for me because no matter what, this has been a challenging year, and not once have I said I don't want to go in the gym and be with these guys. And these guys have not once came in and not have the right mindset. And, obviously this was their first year here and their only year here. And this is their experience. And I just, this is a great group of young men. And I just wanted their experience to be so much better than what we experience as far as the winning and losing. But a great group of guys. I wouldn't want to be with another group of guys than these group of guys right here, because they, again, we've come up short. We come up short, but these guys come into work every day, and they have a great mind. They have a great mindset. And so, I will be a little bit emotional because this group right here, this has been a long year for us.
Oswego County Mutual. With that, we'll take a break at our Burdick pregame coverage. When we come back, I'll look back at the recent Cuse Virginia series. Yeah, it's heavily slanted toward the Cavaliers, and we'll continue to get you ready for the final regular season game of the season. We're back next year on Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
This
Virginia's locked into the 9. Is that a fact, LeMayo? I haven't dived into this crazy potential 5-way tiebreaker. That's they win the tiebreaker. Have you? I'm going to be digging in during the game, trying to figure out who's going to be the 11 here. Yeah, your spreads are legendary, Q Sports Nor. You've been on it. Does the hot dog sign bring us good luck? Just thinking about the hot dog sign made me cough. I think I'll leave it to Borat. Don't know that yet, Mike. I think you're required to do at least 100, Kev. I think that's how they do it. I could be wrong. Yes, 7 p.m. That is definite, Michael. Our starting lineups in. Oh, they just came in. Same. Starling, Taylor, Carlos, Davis, Lampkin. I have not seen anything about Chapo one way or another. You mean over tea takes?
It's the Burdick Ford and Burdick Toyota pregame show.
That it is rolling along here on this Saturday evening as things continue to take shape for the ACC Conference Tournament, where tonight's game officially now means absolutely nothing. Syracuse is locked into the 14 seed. Apparently Virginia is locked into the 9. They will win even if they lose this game, they will win the massive tiebreaker, and then we're going to have to sort through Pittsburgh, Florida State, Notre Dame, and potentially Virginia Tech here, depending on a few other results going on right now to determine who Syracuse will play. We know the Orange will be the 14 seed in the ACC tournament this coming Tuesday. We know that game will tip off at 7 o'clock, and we know that game will be in Charlotte. That said, it's Cuse, Virginia, right? This game's had a little something on it of late, not of extremely late, but it's time for this day in Syracuse basketball history. Brought to you by Shep Family Funeral Home. Celebrate your loved one with help from Shep. Visit shepfamily.com. Well, we all remember the 2016 Elite Eight game. That was fun. Malachi Richardson, whole thing, Final Four. That was great. Then Syracuse beat them the next year in the regular season by 4. Since then, so we are going back to January of 2018. Syracuse is 1-10 against Virginia in the last 11 meetings between these teams. Have lost 6 straight. Last year, it was early December. They went down to Charlottesville. Remember, it was Red's first conference game as a head coach. And they just got absolutely smoked, 84-62 in a game that they got off the tracks like late in the first half and never, ever got back on. So that was the most recent game against Virginia. A lot's happened at Virginia since then. Tony Bennett retired shockingly before the start of the season. Very wobbly start to the season for Virginia. I don't want to say they're playing well, but they're playing much better here in the last month or so. What looked to be for sure a losing season, they're back to 500 now at 15-15. And as the 9 seed, they've earned the final single bye in the ACC tournament into the 8-9 game that will be played on Wednesday at noon. With that, we'll take a break, come back, and finish setting the table for the game today, give you starting fives, and get it going for this one between Syracuse and Virginia. About 12 minutes out from opening tip tonight in the Dome. It's Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. Same 5 as normal, John. No. Spatch and Louise, you can, we will reconvene postgame. Other than nobody, which is my initial lean, T takes, like Duke is clearly the best team. Clemson and Louisville have a clear gap. And NC State, so literally from the first day? So Virginia, so you're saying choose between Virginia Tech, Florida State, Notre Dame, Pitt, Syracuse, and Cal? Yeah. Florida State? Leonard Hamilton's last run? I don't know. Nobody is the short answer. I'd say the main intrigue is can either of North Carolina, Wake, or SMU win any game that matters to get them in the tournament.
Burdick Ford and Burdick Toyota pregame show.
All right, back at it. A few more minutes with you before tip time today. Cuse and Virginia. Quite literally the final game of the ACC regular season. Darn near everything is slotted into place now. The Orange will be the 14th seed in the upcoming ACC conference tournament, and we'll be playing, well, we'll try to figure out the question mark sooner than later. On Tuesday, it's going to be coming from a collection of Pittsburgh, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, and Florida State. Orange will be playing one of them on Tuesday at 7 o'clock. They're at halftime in Durham right now, or in Chapel Hill. No offense. Duke 43, Carolina 42, so that's going a little differently. Pitt is absolutely working Boston College right now. Clemson is beating the tar out of Virginia Tech right now, and the only other games going on in Virginia and Cuse. Tipping off shortly, the game of the day in the league was Notre Dame 112, Cal 110 in 4 overtimes. That game turned this game into a big nothing burger as far as seeding implications. Had that game gone the other way, the Orange would have a chance to have climbed as high as 13, but it did not, so they won't. And that is that. Starting lineups are in for the game today. No changes for Syracuse. The guards are Jaquan Carlos, J.J. Starling, and Lucas Taylor. Jair Davis at the forward spot and Eddie Lampkin in the middle. For Virginia, Andrew Rohde, Dai Ames, and Isaac McNeely. McNeely's perhaps the only name you'll remember from this group going back to the last couple of years. Blake Buchanan and Elijah Sanders up front for a Virginia team that has a multitude of guys that can and will shoot and make the three. They got 4 guys on their team shooting 39% or north from 3 that have made at least 1 3 a game, some of them much more than that. So the main weapon for Virginia is just spreading the floor and chucking threes. And we know Syracuse has been susceptible to anybody shooting anything at all. So we'll see if the Orange can provide any defense outside the arc tonight against Virginia. Virginia is going to win this massive tiebreak if they end up with it. Regardless, they will be the 9 seed in the upcoming conference tournament. Coming up, they'll play on Wednesday. They'll be in the nooner, and they'll be playing Georgia Tech. So they're locked into a matchup with Georgia Tech on Wednesday. We shall sort through during the game who Syracuse will be playing. And then when it's over, technically, we'll know. We may not have figured it out yet by the time the game ends because there's some kooky tiebreaks going on. We'll know. We just may not have, done all the math yet by the end of the game. Either way, we'll tell you on postgame who Syracuse is playing coming up. So postgame coverage will be after as normal. I'll be with you back here on the radio on Cuse Sports Talk. We'll have your calls after the game. We'll wrap up the regular season after the game. We'll look ahead to the ACC tournament after the game. And we'll have our Red Autry postgame press conference live and in living color for you on the radio and Cuse Sports Talk As far as viewing and listening options for you tonight, broadcast going already, of course, TK99 on our AM signal, ESPN 1200 here in the Cuse. If you would like to listen to Matt Park and Jim Saddlin and wonder what Paulie's doing there, sitting next to them at the Dome tonight. If you are watching the game this evening, it is on ESPN. It's on ACC Network. A pair of Cuse guys on the call. Jay Alter has got a full QC weekend back in town on play-by-play. He's got the game tonight, and he's got Cuse Hopkins tomorrow and another full Cuse broadcast. He'll be with Gark. And the color analyst tonight, we've seen him in studio. He's new in town, new on the gig. Michael Carter Williams is doing color for TV tonight. So we'll see how MC Dubs does in his Syracuse game color analyst debut. I think he's done a couple other games, just his first Cuse game he'll be doing color for. So that'll be intriguing to see Michael Carter Williams tonight. With that, enjoy the game, everybody. We'll check back here after for our post-game coverage right here on Cuse Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
This is